Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya'i wal Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Alhamdulillah, we are back in our morning Fajr Quran Dars session, and inshallah this morning we will be continuing the study of Surah Hud from ayah number 50 to 60. So Surah Hud, ayah 50 to 60, inshallah, this morning. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإلى عاد أخاهم هودا قال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره إن أنتم إلا مفترون يا قوم لا أسألكم عليه أجرا إن أجري إلا على الله إن أجري إلا على الذي فطرني أفلا تعقلون ويا قوم استغفروا ربكم ثم توبوا إليه يرسل السماء عليكم مدرارا ويزدكم قوة إلى قوتكم ولا تتولوا مجرمين قالوا يا هود ما جئتنا ببينة وما نحن بتاركي آلهتنا عن قولك وما نحن لك بمؤمنين إن نقول إلا اعتراك بعض آلهتنا بسوء قال إني أشهد الله واشهدوا أني بريء مما تشركون من دونه فكيدوني جميعا ثم لا تنظرون إني توكلت على الله ربي وربكم ما من دابة إلا هو آخذ بناصيتها إن ربي على صراط مستقيم فإن تولوا فقد أبلغتكم ما أرسلت به إليكم ويستخلف ربي قوما غيركم ولا تضرونه شيئا إن ربي على كل شيء حفيظ ولما جاء أمرنا نجينا هودا والذين آمنوا معه برحمة منا ونجيناهم من عذاب غليظ وتلك عاد جحدوا بآيات ربهم وعصوا رسله واتبعوا أمر كل جبار عنيد وأتبعوا في هذه الدنيا لعنة ويوم القيامة ألا إن عادا كفروا ربهم ألا بعدا لعاد قوم هود صدق الله العظيم. This was Surah Hud from ayah number 50 to 60. After the mention of Nuh alayhi salam and the story of his da'wah, his call and struggle with his people, and what the detail of their incident was mentioned, and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dealt with the people of Nuh alayhi salam, those who rejected him and denied him after working with him for over 950 years. Right after that is the mention of the people of Hud alayhi salam, and that qawm was called Ad. Now these are the descendants, the children of Nuh, Nuh alayhi salam, and the people who were saved with Nuh alayhi salam. So it is said that Ad was the name of their ancestor, the name of their chief, forefather, and like great grandfather, and his children, his progeny became a tribe named after him, Ad, and they were from the children of Nuh alayhi salam from the side of Ham, the three sons of Nuh alayhi salam, from the side of Sam, that children of him were, branched out. And they used to live in the area in today's world, from Oman all the way to Hadramaut in Yemen. So the area of Yemen, and they were very strong and very big and powerful people, physically very strong and big, tall people. And they used to say, "Man ashaddu minna quwwa." It is mentioned in another place. "Man ashaddu minna quwwa." Who is more powerful than us in strength and power? There is no one else who can match us in power and strength. Man ashaddu minna quwwa. Now, the mention of Ad in the Quran is there over 20 times. Sometimes just in an ayah or half ayah, or even just mention of the name as ibrah, as a reminder, as a lesson. And sometimes there is a little detail and sometimes full detail. So over 20 different places. But more notably, there is a detailed mention in Surah Al-A'raf from ayah number 65 to 72, and also in Surah Al-Shu'ara from ayah number 123 to 130. Now, when you study Quran in detail, and when there is a mention of something, and you go to the rest of the surahs, and you bring also the other places where that certain specific topic is mentioned, and you read all of them and study all of them, then you get a full picture, a full story of that topic that you are learning and you are studying. So if there were time and we were able to study all of those places, especially some of those major places like Surah Al-A'raf that we already finished, and Surah Al-Shu'ara, and Surah Al-Qamar, and other places, and Surah Fussilat, then there would be a little more greater of knowing about Ad, the people of Hud alayhi salam. Now, if we just quickly turn to Surah Al-A'raf, and this is from ayah number 65. It is very similar to what we are studying in Surah Hud, but with simply a little bit more detail of some mention of some specifics there which are not here, and some specific here which are not there. So if you look at Surah Al-A'raf, and that is let me see. From ayah number 65, and then after that in Surah Shu'ara it is 123. وَإِلَىٰ عَادٍ أَخَاهُمْ هُودًا. This is Surah Al-A'raf 65. And to Ad we sent one of their own who was called Hud. قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ. He said, "O my people, worship Allah. مَا لَكُم مِّنْ إِلَٰهٍ غَيْرُهُ." And you will see similar wording in Hud when we come back. that you have no other one to worship except Allah. أَفَلَا تَتَّقُونَ أَفَلَا تَتَّقُونَ. Then don't you have taqwa and this awareness and mindfulness of Allah and having fear of Allah. قال الملأ الذين كفروا من قومه إنا لنراك في سفاهة. Now, here this specific detail is mentioned that his people, especially the leaders, the chiefs, they call him. We see you as a fool person, safaha, a fool person. They accuse him of foolishness. The second thing they say, and we are certain you are a liar. You are not saying the truth. But we don't believe in what you are saying. Why are you calling me fool? I don't have any foolishness. I am the messenger from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is showing, emphasizing the fact that he is just as a messenger from Allah. And here is what he does. He doesn't want money. He doesn't want power. I'm not after your wealth or power or leadership or any other things. I don't want. And look at my call. I'm not calling for something that is illogical, that is that is not acceptable by a clear, open, free mind that is thinking and learning and seeing the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and everything. And he says, وَبَلِّغُكُمْ رِسَالَاتِ رَبِّي. I am conveying and delivering to you the messages of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all my job is, أَنَّ لَكُمْ نَاسِحٌ أَمِينٌ. I am just giving you advice and Amin. I'm a trustworthy nasih. I'm a trustworthy and advisor. So my job, my mission is nothing but advising you and delivering you and calling you, inviting you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look at my track record, because every prophet, every messenger, the people knew him very well, and his character, his manners, his conduct, his dealings, they were the perfect people in their nations. So look at my amana, my nasiha, my work, and I don't want anything in return. So that is also in Surah Al-A'raf. And when we turn to Surah Hud in number 50, it is closely similar mention. But over there, it is the people's harsh treatment of him, accusing him of with very, very nasty words. And that is telling the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam that the people of Makkah are calling you also these harsh and nasty things, and the prophets and messengers before you also saw the same treatment. Here it is more of like how they were dealt, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished them because of their stubborn and consistent rejection of the truth. So in ayah number 50, wa ila adim, and to Ad. And this and follows the story of Nuh alayhi salam. Nuh was sent and Hud alayhi salam, both were sent. Akhahum. Ad is the nation. Akhahum, a brother of them, meaning one of their own tribesmen, from their own blood, from their own lineage. And there is a beauty in this, because he was not alien to them. He was not an unknown person to them. Even a human being from a different place. No, he was one of them. They knew him very well. Huda. Qala, he said, Ya qawmi. Just like in Surah Al-A'raf and Shu'ara, which we don't have time to go. Qala ya qawmi. And he said, oh my people, u'budullah. The worship of Allah. That's his call. He has no other mission for wealth or money or name or fame or following or leadership or grouping or whatever, or badullah. My only call is for you to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Malakum min ilahin ghayru. You have no other one to worship but him. Malakum. You don't have min ilahin, of any other ilah, any other God, any other deity, any other one to worship, غيره, without, besides Allah, without Allah. In antum illa muftarun. Over there in Arab, we learned, he said, in afala tattaqun. Why don't you have this taqwa now? Why don't you have this awareness and fear of Allah? Here it says, in antum illa muftarun. That now this refers to their worship of and shirk, and they, Hud alayhi salam is telling them, in antum, you are not illa except muftarun, liars, fabricators. You are forging and fabricating the practices and the worship of idols and things that you are doing. This is all made up. You have come up with these things. There is no proof, evidence from the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through any means. You have no evidence on that. Ya qawmi. And now Yahud alayhi salam is giving them the reasons that, you know, to convince them and give them the argument that, look at me, what my mission is based on only and only nasiha and calling you to something good. Ya qawmi, O my people, la as'alukum alayhi ajra. I'm not asking you alayhi on this work and this dawah, this invitation that I'm giving you, ajran, any reward, any return. Now, when we learn about Nuh alayhi salam, he said, malan, la as'alukum alayhi malan. I'm not asking any wealth, any money. He specifically said money, because later in the same several ayahs later, he said, I'm not the owner of any treasures, that I don't have any treasures, khaza'in. That, and then he said, I don't ask for mal, and I cannot give mal. I cannot promise you any wealth, any money. Here, there is no mention of treasures and mal and wealth. So he says ajr in general. That return can be in the form of money, wealth, or appreciation, or leadership, or position, or whatever. I don't want any of those things. In ajriya illa ala alladhi fatarani. In ajriya, my ajr, my reward is not illa except ala alladhi, on that fatarani, on the one who has created me. Fatarani. So my ajr is only on my creator. Now he makes this very, very clear to let the people know that they should not accuse him and reject him based on any claims that he is after their mal, after their money or treasures. No, I don't want any of those things. Then don't you understand now? Don't you have aql to use? What do I gain from this? It is only for your own good. And then he continues to say, the path is clear. And I'm showing you, I'm giving you a prescription, a clear path for your good and benefit in this dunya before you get to akhirah. And ayah number 52 is clearly and beautifully mentions that, turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, worshipping him alone, and giving him your full devotion and dedication by asking for forgiveness and everything will benefit you and give you a lot of things here in this dunya before you get to akhirah. Wa ya qawmi, O my people, istaghfiru, ask Allah, istaghfiru rabbakum, ask Allah for forgiveness, istighfar. Forgiveness of what? Forgiveness of your shirk and the idol worshipping, the accusations, the rejection and denial, and the stubbornness on your wrong path. Ask Allah for forgiveness. So this is forgiveness by your tongue, by your words. Thumma, after that you do that, tubu, now in return, make tawbah. So that is action. The first part is istighfar with tongue. It should immediately follow with action. And that is tawbah and repentance and return. Make a U-turn from your wrong path, ilayhi, to him. Tawbah, return to Allah. So your words of istighfar should be go hand in hand and should match your actions. that you are saying, forgive us, and then you follow with good actions. And once you do that, and this is for not only for Qawm Hud, Ad, but for all people and all nations, and this day and whoever comes in the future. Turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, asking for forgiveness, making astaghfar a part of our life, like in Surah Nuh, Nuh alayhi salam gives this beautiful advice to his people that if you do istighfar, yusil sama alaykum midrara وَيَمْدِدْكُمْ بِأَمْوَالٍ وَبَنِينَ وَيَجْعَلْ لَكُمْ جَنَّاتٍ وَيَجْعَلْ لَكُمْ أَنْهَارًا. Allah will give you food and fruits and gardens and children and everything that you ask for. So istighfar and tawbah and repentance is the key for all those things. So once you do that, in this life, you will get a lot of benefits. Now, why? Because people of Hud alayhi salam, the Qawm Ad, they used to have gardens and a lot of vegetations and fruits and greenery, and they needed water and irrigation and canals. And there are some remnants, some athar, some marks that they left behind, that they had very big systematic canal systems and irrigation for their gardens and lands. So Hud alayhi salam is telling them, Yursil sama. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send the sky, alaykum, upon you, midrara, with a lot of rain. Midrara means excessive and enough, abundant rain. A rain that is abundant for your benefit and good for your fruits and animals and vegetations, and it is not damaging in the meantime. It is not harmful in the meantime. So there could be a rain that causes a lot of flooding and a lot of damage to your crops and things. But this rain is midrar. Midrar meaning it gives you enough of water for everything that you need, and it will not destroy and will not make any damage to your crops and vegetations. More than that, وَيَزِدْكُمْ, and Allah will increase you, قُوَّةً, power and strength, إِلَىٰ قُوَّتِكُمْ, to your existing quwwah. The power and strength, physical and material power that you have, Allah will increase it for you. Put barakah in that in many ways. So Allah will give you quwwah in many different ways, wealth and children, vegetations and greenery, and in so many other ways. وَلَا تَتَوَلَّوْا. So this is the call, the invitation of Hud alayhi salam to his people. وَلَا تَتَوَلَّوْا, and don't turn back. Don't turn back. Tawalla. Wala, when you turn your back and move away. So wala tatawallaw, and don't turn away and become mujrimeen. Don't become criminals, wrongdoers, sinners by committing the shirk and idol worshipping and all that you are doing right now. So the people of Hud alayhi salam turn back and they argue with him, and they answer his call. Qalu, they said, Ya Hud, O Hud alayhi salam, ma ji'tana, you have not come to us bibayinatin, with any clear evidence. So you're not showing us any clear-cut proof, bayina. So the books of Tafseer, they mention bibayina, they mean by that what they asked for, what they were demanding. And we know from the mention of Nuh alayhi salam and other prophets and messengers that they clearly told their people that bringing miracles and what you are demanding is not in my hands. And I have already clearly presented proofs and evidences in many ways. But what you are asking for is not to believe, not to be convinced, but it is just another tactic, another way of rejection. So what I have already displayed and brought, it has more than enough of evidence. And here, beautiful words, beautiful explanation is mentioned that even if there was no physical and outward miracle, his existence among them as one of their own, not somebody from outside, and they knew him the whole life as trustworthy and good in character and conduct and dealings. Plus, he's not asking for any money. He is not asking for any power or position. Plus, he is not, calling them for something that does not make sense, that is illogical, that is against the call of the prophets and messengers of the past. If they look just a little, it is in the books of history say that Ad were the fourth generation after Nuh alayhi salam, only fourth generation. So they could remember, they could relate to the stories of the past, Nuh alayhi salam and his children. So all of that combined, even if there is no physical miracle or the things that they are demanding, this whole package that the Hud alayhi salam is bringing was enough of evidence. وَمَا نَحْنُ بِتَارِكِ آلِهَتِنَا. And they are telling them, you know what? وَمَا نَحْنُ. And we are not بِتَارِكِ, leaving آلِهَتِنَا, our gods. We cannot leave them. We cannot abandon them. عَنْ قَوْلِكَ, because of your words. Because of what you are saying, like they are accusing, this is just your words. وَمَا نَحْنُ لَكَ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. And we are not believing in you. How will we believe? وَمَا نَحْنُ لَكَ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. Here, this بِمُؤْمِنِينَ, because in this ayah means we don't trust you. وَمَا نَحْنُ. And how do we know it? It means trust or distrust, because of laka. وَمَا نَحْنُ بِكَ. If you say وَمَا نَحْنُ بِكَ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ, we don't believe in you as a prophet. But here it says وَمَا نَحْنُ لَكَ. So whenever in the Quran there is مُؤْمِنُونَ بِكَ or مُؤْمِنُونَ لَكَ, this is the small difference. مُؤْمِنُونَ لَكَ, we don't trust you. Whatever you say, we cannot trust you in that. إِن نَقُولُ إِلَّا تَرَاكَ. You know what? What happened actually, some of our gods has spilled on you some type of madness and craziness. You have lost your brain. Na'udhu billah minha. This is the type of accusations they're treating Hud alayhi salam with. And this is to give the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam a kind of solace and tasliya, and give him this moral support and strength that, you know what, the people of the past had more harsher treatment of their prophets. In naqulu, we don't say illa except i'taraka. I'taraka ba'du alihatina. I'taraka meaning asabaka ba'du alihatina. That some of our gods have touched you or have caused you to lose your mind, to lose your brain. They have caused you and touched you, caused it for you bisu'in, evil and wrong. And by that they meant, mental loss of mental balance. Na'udhu minha. Qala, he said, inni, this is Hud alayhi salam right away answering. Qala, he says, inni ushhidullah. Why are you calling me like that? Inni, indeed, ushhidullah. I make Allah as my witness. Washhadu, and you also be witness. Anni bari'un mimma tushrikun. That I'm free of, I'm bari and free. I have nothing to do with mimma tushrikun, with what you are making sharik and associates with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now he is coming with a very confident position. Now this, the ulama mentioned, is another sign of him being the truthful prophet and messenger of Allah, that all alone with probably very limited few followers and standing against some of the strongest people physically and materialistically and in every way, by himself alone, standing his position and his ground, not backing off, not budging, not changing a bit in his principles. This in and of itself shows how strong yaqeen and conviction he had in his mission, and that makes him absolutely truthful in his call. قال إني أشهد الله. I witness Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is my witness. He's my shaheed. وَاشْهَدُوا, and you also will be shaheed. You also be witness and watch this. أَنِّي بَرِيءٌ, that I'm bari, I'm free of mimma tushrikun, of everything that you are making sharik and partners. Min dunihi, besides Allah, below Allah, other than Allah, anything that you bring as sharik, I'm bari from that. Fakiduni. Now he is, despite all the challenges and imminent threat and the fear of persecution and even killing and everything, he says, Fakiduni. Then go and plot, because he knew the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was certain of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's support and backing. So he is saying, Fakiduni, go out and plot and plan. Jami'an, all together. You, whatever you can bring together, and your gods and shariks and your deities that you are worshipping, all together. Thumma, and then la tunzirun. Don't give me any chance. Don't give me any time, any respite. Intidar. Don't do any intidar. Don't wait. Why? Inni tawakkaltu ala Allah. I have full, indeed I, tawakkaltu, I rely and put my trust on Allah, in Allah, Rabbi wa Rabbikum. Beautiful, clear words. First of all, he shows and continues in every statement, he continues to emphasize and strengthen his iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That I have no other, support, no other power except by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I trust him alone, and he is my Rabb and your Rabb. So that's another way of calling them and giving them da'wah that, hey, the one I depend on is my master, my Lord, my Rabb, and your Rabb too. So why not together we turn to him and we ask him for forgiveness and we rely and trust on him alone. Inni tawakkaltu ala Allah, Rabbi wa Rabbikum. He is my Rabb and your Rabb. Ma min dabbatin. Now he continues to give them and teach them about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and give them the sifat, the attributes of Allah, the description of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a power and control and his acts and his sifat. Ma min dabbatin. There is no living thing. None of the living things, dabba. No living thing on the face of the earth, illa huwa, except Allah, akhidun binasiyatiha. This is an expression, akhidun binasiyatiha, meaning he is holding its forehead. Holding the forehead is an expression of having complete, total control of something. So when you hold and you can grip something on its forehead, that means you are now in complete control of that, physically and emotionally and mentally in every way. So there is nothing except that Allah is in complete, full control of. Whether it's human beings or animals or everything else, that Allah is in complete control of them. And you will see that you, with all this power and strength and physical power that you have, and big, high sizes that you have, you will all be in the control of Allah. Whenever and however Allah wants to deal with you, you will experience it. Inna Rabbi, and he continues to talk about Allah further and further. Inna Rabbi, indeed my master, my Allah, my Rabb, ala siratul mustaqim. He is on the straight path. Now this means what? Ala siratul mustaqim, he is on adl and justice. When he deals with you, whenever he sends his punishment and his command and order and qada, that will be absolutely his justice and fairness. Ala sirat al-mustaqim, he is on complete, clear, and straight path of justice and fairness. فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا, fa is then, after all these evidences and giving you all the open, clear proofs, in tawallaw, if you turn away, faqad ablagtukum, then know that my job is done. Faqad, then definitely, ablagtukum, I did my tabligh. Ablagtukum, I did my job, I delivered. I conveyed to you ma, that ursiltu, that I was sent bihi, with that, ilaykum, to you. So I delivered everything I was sent with, and I made it clear. I conveyed everything fully, completely. So I did my job, and if you're turning away, this statement is a statement of warning that, you know what, my job is done, and then Allah is now going to be dealing with you the way and the time and the manner He wants to deal with you. وَيَسْتَخْلِفُ, and the next statement makes it clear that this is a very, very big warning to them. And we know from other ayat, other surahs, that He gave more detail that, hey, adab is coming and you will not be able to run away. And when that adab comes, you will be taken by surprise. And they were even telling in those cases that, bring it on, we don't care, you are a liar, nothing will happen to us. And man ashaddu minna quwwa, who has more power than us, we can protect ourselves. So Hud alayhi salam is implying and telling them, وَيَسْتَخْلِفُ, this is an indirect way of saying you will be gone. وَيَسْتَخْلِفُ Rabbi qawman ghayrakum, and Allah will bring khalifas. Yastakhlifu, meaning He will bring after you, my master, qawman, other people, ghayrakum, other than you. You will be gone. Not like your children will stay. No, you will be completely gone. Ghayrakum, other nation, other people will come. وَلَا تَضُرُّونَهُ شَيْئًا, and you will not be able to harm, na'udhu billah minha, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shay'an, in the least. When His decree is issued and when He decides to wipe you out of the face of the earth, you will not be able to even cause any harm. You will not even be able to resist that adab and remove it from yourself. So, and we can tell and we can understand this now that we look at a very tiny, small creature of Allah, that is invisible, and that has come, and the whole world is scrambling. The whole world is shaken, and everybody, every country, every power, with all their technology and with all their advancement and with all their, calling themselves the superpowers and this power and that power, are now crying for help. If that invisible soldier of Allah can do that, how about the visible soldiers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How about earthquakes? How about fires? How about tsunamis? How about big things that are mentioned in the Quran? If that small thing can do that, how about the big things? And who can harm, who can defend, and who can say anything? Inna Rabbi ala kulli shay'in hafiz. Oh Allah, subhanallah. Inna Rabbi, Hud alayhi salam is telling them, indeed my master. He keeps saying Rabb, 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 meaning He is the owner. He is taking care of us, and He is the one who has complete total control of us. Ala kulli shay'in, my master over everything, hafiz. He is having complete, full grip over everything. And Hafiz also implies from His side that He will protect, He will give us hifadha. He will protect me and the believers. So while on one side He will destroy the disbelievers and those who reject continuously. On the other side, he's also Hafiz. He will protect. Hafiz and Nasir and protector. وَلَمَّا جَاءَ أَمْرُنَا نَجَّيْنَا هُودًا. Now, this is followed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's command of sending down upon them the adhab. And their adhab, like we know from other surahs, their adhab was extremely powerful wind. And in other places, different surahs, Allah call it rihan sarsara fi yawmin nahisat fi ayamin nahisat. Several days, very, very strong and powerful wind was blowing, and their buildings, like they had gigantic buildings. In Surah Shu'ara, Allah says, تَبْنُونَ بِكُلِّ رِيعٍ آيَةً تَعْبَثُونَ. And every hilltop and every high places, you are building big mansions, big mountain-sized buildings with huge pillars, and you feel like you will be here forever. You feel like this is for your permanent place, and nobody can shake you, nobody can remove you, nobody can change your lifestyle. You know, if inshallah, when we have time, after this dars, you can go and study Shu'ara 123 to 30. That's a little more detail of giving the detail of their power and the type of strength that they had. That even in today's world, the superpowers with the tanks and with all these, nuclear power and this and that, and thinking that nobody can even touch them, the same thing Ad was saying. We have all these big pillars and huge mountain-sized buildings and strong fortified places to be secured and protected. Allah says one wind, not even fire or falling of stones, or like the people of Lut alayhi salam, that your earth will be taken up. No, nothing, just wind. That wind will destroy you altogether. And that rihan sarsaran, that strong, powerful wind, destroy them altogether. وَلَمَّا جَاءَ أَمْرُنَا, and whenever our command, our amr, our order came, and that order was the order of destruction, نَجَّيْنَا هُودًا. So this is an implication. There is a hidden story here, and the hidden story is they were destroyed. نَجَّيْنَا هُودًا. We gave nijat, we saved and protected Hud alayhi salam, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَعَهُ, and those who had believed with him, بِرَحْمَةٍ, by our mercy, by our rahmah, with our rahmah. So today we need to ask Allah for His rahmah. In this calamity, this waba that has spread over the world, like Allah saved Nuh alayhi salam with His mercy. In the story we learned there that now go down with your people, and we saved you with our mercy. Bisalamin minna wa barakatin. With our salam, with barakat, with rahmah, you have been saved. And here Allah also says, birahmatin minna. Our mercy saved you, protected Hud alayhi salam and his people. So we ask Allah for His mercy and rahmah in these days. وَنَجَّيْنَاهُمْ مِنْ عَذَابٍ غَلِيظٍ. And we saved them from this severe punishment. Ghalil, very thick, very, very heavy and big, severe adhab and punishment. The ayat rabbihim, they were rejecting and denying the ayat of their master. وَعَصَوْا رُسُلَهُ, and they disobeyed rusulahu, his messengers. Now there is a point to make here. Rusulahu, here plural is mentioned. Rasul is singular, rusul is plural. But we just learned, and we know that Ad had only one messenger, Hud alayhi salam. So why is Rasul mentioned here? They didn't have more than one messenger for them. How come Allah mentions that they disobeyed Rasul, more than one messenger? So it is very easy to understand that the rejection of one messenger is the rejection of all messengers. Not believing in one is not believing in all, because their mission, their work is one and the same, and they're connected in chain. Their chain is all connected. So rejecting one is rejecting all. Number one. The second explanation is that they rejected and denied Hud alayhi salam, and they knew about the prophets and messengers of the past, and they denied and rejected them too. Whenever they were reminded of their past ancestors and forefathers and the messengers and prophets of the past, they rejected them too. But a more accurate understanding is that rejection and denial and kufr on one prophet is kufr on all. And that's why we as believers and Muslims, alhamdulillah, we believe in all messengers and prophets. In the end of Surah Al-Baqarah, we know from the ayat, the last two ayahs of Surah Al-Baqarah, Aman al-Rasul bima unzila ilayhi min rabbihi wal mu'minun kullun amana billahi wa malaikatihi wa kutubihi wa rusulihi la nufarriqu bayna ahadin minhum. We don't make any distinction. We don't have any difference between the prophets when it comes to iman, believing in them. So na'udhu billah minha, if we have the slightest of difference of iman in one of the prophets for any reason, we will lose iman in every prophet. وَاتَّبَعُوا أَمْرَ كُلِّ جَبَّارٍ عَنِيدٍ. They rejected and disobeyed the messengers, and they followed, وَاتَّبَعُوا, they followed, Amra, the command, the way, the path, and the affair of kulli jabbarin, every jabbar, every arrogant, tyrant, oppressor, anid, who was stubborn, who was very, very strong, stubborn, and zalim person. They just followed them. وَأُتْبِعُوا فِي هَذِهِ الدُّنْيَا. And they were followed, the Qawm Ad, the people of Hud alayhi salam, وَأُتْبِعُوا, they were followed فِي هَذِهِ الدُّنْيا, in this life, in this dunya, in this world, لَعْنَةً. They were followed with la'na, they were distanced from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this world, because they were destroyed. And that destruction of them meant they were denied and distanced from the mercy of Allah. That is la'na. And it also means that nations and people after them till this day and until day of judgment, they will always sing la'na on them. No, there will be no one on the face of the earth coming out and praising them. Even disbelievers, even idol worshippers will never come out and say anything good about them. So that is la'na. Wa yawm al-qiyamah. And on the day of judgment, they will also be followed with the la'na and distanced, being distanced from the mercy of Allah. So this is a very big negative and wrong consequence and ending, that we, na'udhu billah minha, if any time we are that type of stubborn and rejectors and deniers, we will be slapped with Allah's la'na here and in the hereafter, in this dunya, before we go to akhirah. Ala inna adan kafaru. Ala, remember, watch. Inna adan, indeed ad, kafaru rabbahum. They disbelieved in their master. And if you remember from the very beginning to the end of the story of Ad, the word rabbahum, rabbi, rabbuna is mentioned continuously again and again, to let them know that you are not rejecting any deity, any God, anyone out there. You are rejecting and denying and disbelieving in your own master, in your own Lord, in your own owner. Ala bu'dan li'adin qawmi Hud. Ala, that's another word of reminder, and another word of tambih that catches and calls for our attention. Allah, remember, watch. Bu'dan, long, a very far distance. Li'adin, for Ad. What does it mean, far distance? Meaning complete, full, far distance from the mercy of Allah, and complete, full, far distance from being saved in this life and the hereafter. And in summary, briefly, it means destruction. Bu'dan li'ad, complete, full destruction for Ad was given. And this is a dua against them also. Qawm Hud, who were the Qawm, the people of Hud alayhi salam. So this is the surah named after Hud alayhi salam. And right in the middle of the surah right here, the story of Hud alayhi salam with his people Ad were mentioned. And after that, we will learn about Thamud. And this is the tartib in many surahs. You know, Nuh alayhi salam is mentioned. Right after that, Ad is mentioned, then Thamud is mentioned. And then Lut alayhi salam, and then some other prophets are mentioned. So in many places you will find this tartib. And they were the descendants, the children, great grandchildren of Nuh alayhi salam. But after a while of Tawheed, they started to do shirk and deny, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent them prophets and messengers to remind, but they denied also. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. ربنا ظلمنا انفسنا وان لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكن من الخاسرين. اللهم اعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عنا. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك.